Ruby on Acid is a Ruby-based library for generating trippy visuals and audio. The background you see here is one of the countless possibilities for what you can do with the library. Sudo gem install Ruby on Acid to get started. Ruby on Acid works through factories, which are simply objects that return values between 0 and 1. Here we create a meta factory and assign several other factories to its factory pool, such as this loop factory, which loops from 0 to 1, a constant factory that always returns the same value, good for fixed points and so forth, a flash factory, which every 100 steps switches between 0 and 1, a sine factory, which produces a sine wave between 0 and 1 at the given rate, a repeat factory, which wraps a loop factory. It'll query it for a value and repeat that value several times. We then use wxRuby, which is a GUI framework, to draw patterns on the screen. We call the meta factory, which selects factories to choose red, green, and blue color values, width for lines, and x and y coordinates to draw from and to. Every once in a while we reset our assignments so that it changes factories that are assigned to coordinates or colors. And here you see the repeat factory repeating the y value several times and then calling for a new one. You see other factories in charge of selecting colors, transparency, line width, and so forth. Let's restart the script and it will reassign all the factories. Now you see a sine factory in charge of one of the x endpoint values. That's why it's waving back and forth like that. Looks like a loop factory has been assigned to one of the color channel values, which is why it's repeating in lines like that. And here we reset again and get yet another set of factory assignments. So great, you're probably thinking, this is yet another set of screensavers. Well, you can also save the factories off to disk and call them up again. So I generated several of my favorite pictures and then redid them in high resolution with many more iterations, giving results like this. But more interestingly, you can use Ruby on Acid to generate things other than visuals. Here we're going to generate some raw PCM data with a set of factories, much like the first, assigned to a meta factory. And we're just going to put values in the range 0 to 255 as bytes to a file. Import it to Audacity as raw PCM data, resetting your factories every once in a while to change algorithms, and you'll get some very interesting results. You may wish to turn your speakers down for this portion. You can basically hook Ruby on Acid up to anything that takes values within a range, such as a musical scale. Here we're going to generate some MIDI events. We simply call MIDI play, and we rely on factories to choose the note, the duration of the note, what channel we're going to play it on, and the velocity, how hard we strike the key. And here you'll hear it progressing through the scale while a loop factory controls velocity. Let's reset it and reassign the factories. That's Ruby on Acid. Check my GitHub page for news and docs on this and other libraries.